Hey, good morning, everyone. Excuse me. So I got a mail opening here, and as you can guess, this giant box is filled with M30. Yeah, you got that right. Hasbro sent me M30 to open on my channel, so it's gonna be an exciting moment, guys. We're gonna pull a Lotus, right? I'm just messing around, of course. I don't have a channel that's Hasbro. I'm an MTG content creator, so Hasbro would definitely not send me M30 cards. They only send those to Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh content creators who don't know better and get basically end up with pie on their face at the end of their videos. No, it's the stuff I bought with my own money. Wow, that's some sticky glue. All right, but talking about that stuff has did release yesterday, right? So I don't know, guys. What are your thoughts on the M30? If you guys have thoughts, if you like leaving them in the comments, I'd love to hear what you think. I'll personally tell you, I find it's just the idea of it is such an incredibly risky product to get involved in. On all the years I've been buying reserveless cards, as all the years, and not so many, but a few. There's always people saying, "Well, you know, that could get reprinted." You know, well, there's an agreement that it won't be reprinted, at least not in a tournament legal format or in exactly the same format. And yeah, sure, they found a way definitely to go around this, but still not making tournament legal playable format. So what is this? This is 3 cases here of 2022 collector boosters. That's what I would consider something good and valuable to purchase or worth purchasing. It's a very good product. It's a very strong set with tons of fantastic cards that would always be good to open. Anyways, yeah, if you're ever concerned about the possibility of reprints, well, how do you feel about the possibility of buying proxies that, you know, they don't even have any reserve list protecting them? They could just be reprinted at any time anybody feels like. I mean, sure, it looked like the product sold out yesterday, and I don't know how much. We'll never know how much they had to offer. They didn't say that it sold out, that's for sure. They just said we're not, you know, the opportunity to buy them is over. So there might be a lot more coming to the market in another way in the future. And even if there isn't, there's no any way to really know there isn't. So I find that to be like, that's an ultimate risk there, you know. There's just so many sketchy things about those cards to me. So this is my opinion here, but the ones that were given out at the Las Vegas 30th anniversary, making their way onto eBay very quickly. They had graders there, and there's nothing sketchy about that. CGC did have a service there that was going to have a rapid turnaround. But if anybody is curious about getting the value for these cards, right, and you look at what happened on the first few that went up for bidding, I think it's very what do you call that? Not delusional, but it's definitely like, you know, whenever a set comes out in Magic, right, you'll see like the prices of the cards pre-release, and then the release happens and they're kind of at their peak, and then they right away just start coming down. There's no reason to think that M30 would be anything different. There's only a very, you know, when a set comes out, there's only a few cards that sometimes people didn't realize were such good cards, and they will start to go up. They'll go the opposite way, but most cards, 90% of cards go down. So that's the first thing about the prices we see for them on eBay. And the second thing is, did anybody look at the bidding on those? Like, as many people who do actually bid on eBay often or watch these type of things, like, they are pretty much look exactly like shill bids. People have, in other words, people who will come and bid up items to raise the price artificially for either the benefit of the seller or for the benefit of them in the future if they plan to have some or make some profit off of them being higher. Anyway, that's one thing I find very sketchy. Like, everything that seems to happen with it just ends up being sketchy. Then they're not sending them to Magic the Gathering creators, they're sending them to Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and other types of creators to try to promote. They're trying to promote the product like outside of Magic. Like, it just, because people who play Magic don't really like the idea of the product all that much. Like, at some people who might have even liked it at the beginning are like, well, now I don't even know. Like, I do or I don't. maybe they're still they're more on the fence than originally they might have liked it, but now they're more on the fence. But some people just flat out really hate this. They don't like it. It doesn't seem to sit well with the idea of their older reserveless cards getting these types of reprints. Like, I don't personally think it's going to affect the value of reserveless cards, these particular reprints. I just don't think it was a healthy thing to do for the community, which I know that Hasbro cares nothing about the community, but but they often say that they do. So it's like, it's kind of worth mentioning. And I'm seeing that the packs themselves are kind of landing on the Facebook groups for 30% or whatever over the price of what they were even at release, and more than that. And we'll see. Like, to me, it's like a game of hot potato. Someone's gonna be left holding the bag at the end when the music stops, and people realize they're just proxies, and they have no real value. They got funky, they got non-magic backs. Like, it's a non-magic back card, guys. I'm gonna show you something of my own. So this, just for fun. I mean, since we're people are printing proxies, right? Like, oh yeah, and the proxy creators are all getting taken off of YouTube. That's always nice too, eh? Like, people who've been creating content for a long time now, they for people to play with these cool proxies that they want to make, those are all getting taken down because I guess Hasbro wants to be the proxy creator. So look at these beta. Animate Deads, Blue Elemental Blasts, and the Dark. Counter spells, beta counter spells. I mean, they're also they're also printed on a thicker stock as well. So in a sleeve, these would feel like, there's your Time Walk. Here's full set of power, right? Like, all this type of stuff. I mean, what is this? What is this worth? Does anybody want to buy this for, like, a huge amount of money? Like, what makes the stuff that Wizards is printing special? What can you do with their proxies that you can't do with these proxies that I made? How much is this worth? Where do you think my proxy Lotus will end in value, and where do you think the recent M30 Lotus will end in value? I know it's a silly question to ask, right? But here's what I'm saying. I like proxies personally. I have most of these cards. I have at least a copy of almost all these cards, if not more. And I don't so much enjoy playing with some of my old cards. I like playing with my worn old cards, but sometimes I own a card in really, really good condition. I don't really want to play with it. I'd like to keep it that way. And I'm looking for the time I could actually trade it down and get maybe some other cards in a more playable condition, because I'm more or less now accepted that I'm an old school player and less of a collector. But I was a collector for many years. So I'm going to transition into more playable cards, played, medium play type of stuff. But so in the meantime, I play with those when in a lot of the stuff I do. Unless I'm playing in a tournament that requires that I play with real cards, then I'll make a decision if I'll break those out or not for the tournament. But what is the value of those? Like, so there's no value to them, right? Because except for the paper and the cost of the ink, that maybe the time it took to cut them. That's all it is. Because the reason there's no value to them is because I can print as many as I want. So they're really just down to their bare cost. And that's exactly the same thing for these proxies. How can they have value when there is no limit to the amount that could be printed? I do not understand how people can see a value in that. It's like, I only think the value is, it's like it's too high to begin with. That's the problem. It's much too high to begin with. And because it's put high and made to look amazing and all this promotion, they're spending so much time marketing it to people. They're trying to create this sense that there is a value there. It's just like, it's not something to share with people and to have fun. And like, I know they're giving one to all the LGSs. I don't know which ones will qualify exactly, but they're supposedly giving them out. But that doesn't sound like, so they'll open them on a game night and everyone gets to see an opening. But it's really just to create hype for the product. It's not something that you can share or repeatedly share. Like, it would have been great to print a cheap proxy set that people could have the pleasure of opening. I don't even really think that this stuff, I'll get on the side, but I don't think this stuff affects the value of CE and IE cards that much. I think that those things just happen to take a huge bump up in price and have been, coming down and are getting down to their bottom where they should be. They're still valuable because those are not going to get reprinted. Those original frames and those original treatments are not going to get reprinted. And another thing that gives the CE and IE cards value that this type of card will never have a value is what population, these new M30 releases, what population do you think will be a BGS or a CGC or a PSA 9 or 10? How many do you think will fall in the 9 to 10 category on grades and subgrades? Like almost all of them, right? Because they are pack fresh. So they have like no grading value. They have no grading premium. Besides the cost it took to send them to the graders, right? Like it's like grading any modern card. Like, grading a card that comes out of this. Or, maybe this is a limited print run. So, theoretically it's sort of like the same thing that, I guess they could reprint this, but they only made one printing. But like grading a card from Ikoria or from Kaldheim or, from Brothers War, any regular card, you're gonna, actually the truth is that Wizards printing process is pretty bad. So maybe it is special to get a high grade. But all jokes aside about that, there's no shortage of cards that could get a premium grade. So, when you're looking at how much value a graded card, people say, well, if you get a 9.5 or better, you might get a 2 to 3 times value of the original card, of what the card is worth. So that was that was the thinking of it, but that won't apply here, because any card you grade from the set will grade quite high unless the centering is really poor. And so the reverse math is also applicable. If you can determine the value of a card to some extent by how much its graded card would go for, and even though you can't take the graded value, like let's say I think they're in the 2 to 3,000s or 1,000 even for some of the moxes. That's early selling and that's some sketchy bidding. But could you divide that then by 3 and say that's the value of the raw one? Like all the relationships don't work on modern cards and for grading. So I'm just saying that the new set has a real downside compared to CE and IE cards, which are cheaper to buy than this set. And I would recommend to everybody who wants to have an old piece of cardboard that looks like the real thing and is a proxy to go buy those IE and CE cards, those international and regular collector's edition, because those are nearly 30 years old. They have real attrition. It is really special to get one in good condition, and you have the upside of getting it graded if you did. They are they're the same price, but they have they have like so much more upside than that type of a product, than the M30 product. I guess it's time to kind of end the video there, because I've said what I think about it. I feel like it's a product with a ton of downside risk and very little upside, and it's definitely it's just like a kind of like a bad taste in your mouth product. It's not more special than proxies I can make myself. And that's my take on it. And I would have actually thought they could have been a cool product. They said, hey, we're printing this really super expensive product, and it's just an exclusive thing for some people who have lots of money to buy, and that's it. That's what that product kind of is. I want to print some really overpriced proxies that's just for people who have lots of money to spend and don't care about having it take a big dump on them later on down the road. Because if they make a lot of money doing this, it's like they always do something, right? And then if it works, they'll do it again. If it doesn't work, then they'll probably put it on the back burner for a bit. So we'll see if people voted with their wallets or not. Like they say it's sold out. Oh no, sorry. They say it's no longer for sale. So after 3 hours, it says no longer for sale. But did it actually sell out? I have no idea. And do they have more to put onto the market later? We don't really know. They're not transparent about print runs and things like that. So, but if they did make good money, we'll also see what their quarterly results are for the fourth quarter. That can give us an idea of how successful it might have been, because a lot of their other products have not been that successful, except for the Brothers War seems to be kind of like not done as badly as some of the more recent releases. And maybe that'll be an indication of how much money you can reverse calculate from how much money they made or didn't lose this quarter, if it was very successful or not. Anyway, that's my thoughts there. Watch out for it. We'll see it going up on Facebook a lot. We'll see people trying to sell it. I wouldn't have touched it at $250 plus tax. I could have bought it. I didn't. I definitely wouldn't touch it at anybody trying to make a quick buck off of it. That's the only thing they could, they think that someone thinks that they can do. Go, be my guest. Someone, if you want, it's a free market. If someone wants to buy it and try to flip it right away, but that is the only sensible thing to do. I don't think people are going to buy that and hold it long term. I really, you know, maybe it will take on some value. It's not impossible. It's not impossible that the sealed packs could take on some value, but the cards themselves within, I mean, you know, God help you, even if you open a Black Lotus snare, I mean, like, you probably did the best you possibly could. If you open a piece of power, most of the videos I see of people opening are what you'd expect from opening any booster. It's really hit and miss, and more misses than hits. So that's it for me. I'm going to stick with things I would say I believe in. I'm not actually. We should have a whole talk about sealed buying and holding sealed products, because my view on that too has taken a change in the last year to 18 months about buying and holding product for later. But like, so example though, this one I did buy, and I don't mind if I'm holding that for later, because this is one of the few products I feel I would do that with in the present age. But yeah, myself and some other people who do that type of stuff definitely have had a change of outlook over the last 1 year and a little bit more about buying and holding on to a lot of the Wizards products, because even though I'm able to buy them very early at release at near prices of distribution, what we're finding is that if you actually just wait a little bit more, the products all fail in some sort of way, or just the confidence in the products are not there, and you can get the people are just fire selling them or dumping them, or there's Amazon dumps for these type of things. It's just a very funny time to be buying anything from this company. So stay safe out there. I've got to head to work. Wishing you all the best, and catch you on my next video.